Welcome, everyone. 89 people. We had, I'm checking, 314 people register for this event. So we're just gonna wait maybe another few seconds. I see the numbers are going up. But just a reminder that while we have Sharon speaking today, if everybody can make sure that their mic stays muted just to, eliminate any sort of background noise, then we can get the most out of today's session. And then I had mentioned earlier, we love to hear where everybody is joining us from. So feel free to put into the chat box, what territory, what region, Turtle Island you're joining us from. With this new virtual format, we're so excited that we can have a further reach and that we can have more people join us in hearing from our elders. All right, Sharon, did you want to get going? So I'll just do a quick little welcome. So my name is Amanda. I am operations assistant for Anish Corporation, so I help moderate these events. I am Kinsho Dene from Treaty 11, but I was raised in northern Manitoba, so Treaty 5, Churchill. I'm so happy that I can be here to help with these sessions. One thing that we really wanted to do with the new virtual format is to help connect everybody during, such a difficult time where we're all having to isolate and stay at home. And I'm sure a lot of us miss our family and friends. So we figured this is a good way to, feed our spirit, to hear these teachings and to connect with our elders. So our series is called Reclaiming Cultural Connections, Reigniting Blood Memory. So it's a really great way to still feed your spirit. As I mentioned before, if you can keep your mic muted, there will be a question period at the end. If you're not quite comfortable speaking out your question, you're more than welcome to put it into the chat. You can write it for everyone to see or just myself, and we'll make sure that Sharon gets those questions. But I'm going to let Sharon Ward introduce herself. So Sharon, if you just want to unmute your mic, then I'll let you take it from here. Here. Oh, there you go.
Bonjour. My English name or Hebrew name is Sharon Ward. My real name is Ompag Mistu Jigajet Nina Talawisi Kabadikwanget Nanish Nakas Ochechak Nintutim. I have I'm of mixed blood. My father was Mi'kmaq from the East Coast, and my mother is Anishinaabe. So most of the teachings that I'm going to be talking about today are Anishinaabe. However, I'd like to recognize the other societies that people follow out there, because I know that not everybody follows Anishinaabe ways. No clan, they don't follow the clan system. They follow a society. I don't know how to say that word in the language, but they have different groups of people who follow that. But for the Anishinaabe people, a long, long time ago, we were given a certain way of life and a certain way of being safe, and to make sure that our people lived long, healthy lives, and especially for our children and our grandchildren. And It was Nana Bourgeot who had taken our people over into the East Coast a long time ago. And when we were taken down to the East Coast, we were all given certain clans in order to follow, and the certain clans helped us in order to survive. There was also our own different kind of governing structure. We didn't always follow the electoral way of life. We didn't have that way. That's what we what we recognize as a pirate's way. And even the X on a when you mark by an X or whatever, we call that the skull and crossbones. That's how we recognize it as a pirate's mark. But anyway, in our way of life, we are pictograph people. And sometimes you'll see pictures of our people, and they there'll be stories. There are stories of people, stories of legends that are all written. But our clan systems, right around this time, they start to call the clans. There's a special ceremony just for the clan system. And what they do in that ceremony is they will call each and every one of those clans. There's a song for each and every one of them. And they will be called into the ceremony to make sure that all the people will be invited into that lodge or into the ceremonies of our people. And we honor a lot of different nations when they come into the lodges, and we offer respect and kindness, caring, sharing, faith. We offer our truth and our honesty to each and every one that comes in. We also try to live a very humble and in humility, so that we don't try and be above each other. We just try to be equal to one another, because no one is stronger than that little boy when he first comes in, which was Nana Bourgeot. So the first clans that we call in are usually the head clans. Those two clans are the clans of the loon and the crane. In our in our um, in our way of life, our survival has a lot to do with those two clans, because they're two chiefs or chieftains. One is the loon clan, which will work inside the community and help the people inside. And then the crane clan, his job is supposed to be to help the people outside. Now, we're not um, a paternal nation. We never were. We were always maternal. So the chiefs that are there, one will be a hereditary and one will be a chosen. They're not elected into those things, and they're not always because you have to have a certain type of individual who is able to do those kind of things. So we always have one that's appointed, one that is chosen by the clan mothers. And the head clan mothers are the ones that take care of the communities. That's our structure. That's our way of life. It was never done by the chiefs and then downwards. So our governing system is the same as our clan system. You can't have one without the other. And there's a reason for that, because only through women can there be life, which is why women are the caregivers of our people, of our children, of each other. And the reason why we have that as our way of life is because the women, when they make a decision, they don't just base it on what's happening around them here and now. They try to look and see 7 generations ahead in order to understand how that's going to affect all those nations, all the children, the grandchildren. Because you see, we understand that whatever happens happens for 7 generations, just like impact, whether it's good or bad, how it's going to affect us and our children and our teaching, our way, our structures. So when the treaties were signed, they said that it was the women, the clan mothers, the grandmothers, the mothers, they were the ones who were sitting there crying when those treaties were signed because they seen what was going to happen ahead of time for our people and the suffering that our people would have to go through. Now, those two clans, the Crane and the Loon, their job is to make sure that everybody is doing what they're meant to be doing because we need each other in order to survive. See, everything was about survival. There was nothing about who was going to be better than the other. And how everything was structured was how you were born. It's the largest responsibility of the oldest or the youngest in the family to take care or to carry those things for the other for the rest of the family. That was a big responsibility. You're not chosen for that responsibility by people. You see, before those children were born, either the oldest or the youngest, that people would be given a dream to let them know which one of the children what it was going to be. And in my family, my grandmother comes from a very large family. I thought it was 17 in total, but from what I stand corrected. There was 17 girls and one boy, so there was 18 in the family. My grandmother was the youngest, and my grandmother, for me, I was the firstborn girl in 2 generations. Like after my grandmother's family, and none of the 17 girls had a firstborn daughter to carry on. And then I was born, um, and I'm from after this next generation. So it took 2 generations before I came along. I was born in the second generation. First generation, there was no girls born first; they were all boys. And the elders tell me that I have a big responsibility. The thing is that um, the reason why I'm given that responsibility is because I spent a lot of time with the old people that were born in the 1800s. And a lot of people don't, like when they look at me, they think, oh, she's just, some people will think, oh, she's Muniakwe or a white girl. And she looks really young. I'm going to be 60 soon. And the only reason why I think I look young is because number one, I never had a childhood. I grew up really fast. And the other thing is that I stopped drinking and doing drugs and all of that when I was in my early 20s. And I really didn't want to do that, but I had to. It's a responsibility that goes along with the things that you have to do in order to follow through with the responsibilities you're given. Anyway, today I'm here to tell you about the rest of the clans. There are 5 other clans. There's the Bear clan, there's the Wolf clan, there's um, the Birds clan. That's all the birds. There's like the Eagle clan and stuff like that. There's the Fish clan, and then there's the Cats, which is the Lynx clans. Now the Lynx and the Wolf, they you see, there's a structured. There's a head clan mother. There's clan mother, and then the rest of them are clan people. So that's how things happen. Now, every clan has got a responsibility in the community to help with the survival. The warrior clans are usually the the lynx and the wolf, but the wolf is also a hunting clan. Oh yeah, there's a hoof clan too. I almost forgot about them. So the bear clan, their first responsibility for them is that they are our police control. They're the ones who follow through with whatever the clan mothers say because they are also the law. They're the ones that when there's things not going right in the communities, they're the ones that'll come together and they'll talk about it and then they'll make a choice as to what it is that's going to happen. And if somebody is talked to quite often and is still not listening, something has to happen. Sometimes they were taken and they had to live on their own to learn how it is to have to survive on your own without having the rest of the community there until they learned a lesson. So it was up to the bear clan to take them out of the community to do that. But it's also the bear clan that is the medicine people. They're the ones that take care of the medicines, just like that bear takes care of those medicines while that bear is here during the from the spring to the fall. And that bear is walking around and he's taking the plants and he's eating the plants and sharing those things with other people. The spirit of that bear is also the one that does all the doctoring. So the Bear Clan people have that responsibility to, they're the medicine people to take care of our people. Now, there's, like I said, there's many different kinds of bears. You know, like you have the black bear, you have the Kodiak bear, you have the what they call a cinnamon brown bear. You have a grizzly bear, you have the polar bear, now you have a spirit bear. So we have many different kinds of bears in this land. We're not going to include the panda bear and the koala bear, only the ones from this land. So anyway, those people have a lot of responsibility. They have a lot of responsibility and they have to follow through with those things. They have to follow their clan system. And then, like I was talking about the warrior clans, they're the ones who have to make sure that the community is taken care of, that we're always watched over, because sometimes there'll be bears or there'll be wolves, like natural predators that may try to come into the community to take out one of the children or one of the people because they're hungry too. Some days when it's really, when they really struggle a lot because they struggle a lot with things that are happening in the environment. Sometimes they don't have enough food there to eat, or if one is ill and they're struggling to be able to hunt an animal, they'll come in and they'll try to go after one of the children or one of the people. So we have to have those clans to watch over our communities. The wolf clan is more of a hunter clan. They're the ones that go out and do the hunting. They go out and they do the hunting and they bring back a lot of food for our people to eat. But they will also have other clans that go with them. But those wolves are the ones that are the main clan because they hunt in packs. The hoof clan is all of those ones that have hoofs, like the moose, the caribou, the buffalo. You know, they're the ones that have the hoofs. They're the hoof clan. Those are the ones that have a lot of they're very artistic. They're the ones that do most of the rock paintings, the petroforms and things like that. They are the storytellers when it comes to time when we need to have those stories being told. maybe about each other, maybe about Nana Bojo, or what some people call Waseke Jack or Nape. It's that trickster one. So that's the one that they'll tell stories about. And usually only in the winter time when we're fixing our medicines and we're gathering around so that they can share those things with the children to keep them quiet because they're sometimes it can be brutally cold outside. Rather than going outside and getting hurt, we keep them inside with the storytellers telling them the stories. Sometimes it's our history, and our history is very important, especially the how it was a long time ago before any nation came here. The lies that were told, because in 408 AD we were a part of that peace treaty. We call it a peace pipe treaty because the peace pipe was taken there and it was brought back here and it changed the way that we lived. And there's a wampum belt. There's two wampum belts out there that talk about those treaties. We didn't sign the treaty because we don't sign. The only kind of sign language we do is like, this is the morning and this is the evening and this is how we thank you each other and this is how we say we love and honor you. Sign language was our Coptic language amongst all of our people, where we shared that part of the sign language didn't come from Helen Keller. She developed the alphabet, but we're the ones who had the original sign language. All nations knew how to speak it because that's how we communicated with one another because of the language barriers that we had upon Mother Earth, Turtle Island. So we had our own Coptic language in order to take care of that. Anyway, the ones that were the farmers and the knowledge gatherers were the birds, mostly the eagle. And the eagle would take care, they would gather a lot of different information from a lot of different places. They would learn a lot of different things. They travel around and learn a lot of different ways of doing things. But they were also very competent farmers. They grew squash and corn and melons, things like that that we needed in order to survive. You know, people don't seem to understand that. They think farming came from Europeans. Well, some of it did, but most of it came from our own way because we survived off the land, and because in some areas we have farming, we have to move with the seasons because you can only get certain things in certain areas and during a certain seasons. So we had to travel with that in order to make sure that we had enough to last us throughout the winter. Um, so we went from area to area, and a lot of times we had to follow our main protein resource. But when times were hard, we also relied on the smaller animals, like the rabbits and the muskrat and the beaver. And after other nations came here and we were made to stay on reservations, we started trapping those things more and more. But it was hard for us because when our people wanted to trade the furs for other things, like sometimes it was food in order to survive, because if you have a large family, and our people had large families back then, you needed to have more food in order to feed them. So they would have those really long guns, and the Hudson's Bay people used to make them pile the hides as high as those guns in order to get a sack of flour or a few things. They never got very much for those hides, and but it was in order to make sure that survival was of the fittest. Now going on to the next clan, which is the turtle clan or the fish clan. The main one for that fish clan is that turtle. That's why we recognize that turtle in a lot of ways, because the turtle was the first to come here. And the turtle may be slow on the earth, a little bit faster in the water, but we believe that in the spirit world, the turtle is the fastest. And when we talk about Turtle Clan people, they are negotiators. All those fish clans, they can really negotiate. And some of them do it very, very well. Some of them will count coup and take your best horse and turn around and sell it back to you. That's how good they can be. No, I'm just kidding. We have to have some humor, right, in our way of life. But they are very good negotiators. They can really negotiate a lot of things for our people because they are also our our astrologers. They navigated by the stars. They're very good at doing those kind of things. Not only that, they're very good swimmers. But yeah, they navigate by the stars. The Fish Clan people are the ones who do the astrology. They know what's going to happen ahead of time because they're able to understand those stars. And we don't understand them like the same way that they do. Like we do have an elbow, like the archer, but we don't call him the archer. We call him Ogichita. He's a warrior, and he's got the bow and arrow. And in some places, they even name the structures of some of the things here on the earth because they say whatever's here on the earth is up there too. So there's a bear, there's a turtle, there's a fish, there's an eagle. They're all in the skies, they're all in the stars. And that's how they're able to know those things. And they're able to know and understand people a lot better. They can make really good counselors because of the gifts that they carry. And anyway, those are the clan systems. Those are how those things are made. Now, because of European descent coming here and them forcing our people to live in reservations and tricking our people into signing those treaties. Um, First of all, we don't sign things with an X. Uh, we could take them to court and probably never really know who it was that signed those treaties because they didn't understand the language too well and how to interpret it. Just like we have no word for please, we have no word for sorry, no word for money, we have no word for surrender. And I hope we never ever have a word for surrender because I, for one, will never surrender. The reason why I never surrender is because our people um, never surrendered. If we really believed in something, we would take it right to the grave. That's why every day we used to say we used to live as if every day could be our last. That's why a long time ago, Native people, as First Nations people, we 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 um, we would say today is a good day to die. It didn't mean we were suicidal. A lot of people take it as that, but no, we didn't believe in suicide because life is sacred. Life is very sacred. That's the reason why our clan systems and that are set up that way. Unlike a lot of people nowadays, because since Europeans came here, they say that we're supposed to follow our father's clan system. That's not the way it was. We had a very unique way of following our clan system. Like we believe that all of the clans belong to the mothers, and um, the children belong to the mothers. And the only time that a boy would carry on his father's clan would be if maybe the grandmother on that side um, didn't have somebody to carry on for her in her life. She would ask if she can call one of the other children. She'd ask the permission of the other grandmother first if they can do it. And that's how things were done. Like, a lot of people, there's a lot of misconceptions. Like, we do have people that are Wendigo con. They're not Wendigos, even though they say that there are some nations that do have that in their tribes. But for Anishinaabe, we never had Wendigo. We were not Wendigo. We didn't eat people. They were the ones who came here and started to eat our people. And at first, we started to hunt them down because they were able to wipe out a whole community if they were given that opportunity. So, like, we used to try everything. We even tried putting lard and dressing it up like a baby and put it in a tikanog and wrap it in a moss bag and hang it in a tree, hoping that that spirit of that Wendigo would just take that and eat the fat. So we never and would leave our people alone. So when Wendigo wasn't, if he wasn't satisfied with that, if we had no choice but to hunt him down, we would, and we would take its life. However, the only time that people were allowed to um, like you, it takes a very strong individual to take care of that spirit of the Wendigo. They are usually the backwards people. They have their own way of doing things. They talk backwards. Sometimes they do things that are backwards. Sometimes they have ceremonies that are backwards. And sometimes they can't function in school because they have dyslexia, which means that in their minds it kind of gets raveled up. But there's a certain way that if they can figure out how it works, they can straighten it out on how they see things. So anyway, there's different ways of looking at things, but we have never had a Wendigo clan. Those were not really our clans. The Martin is an adopted clan. The Martin. He was with the weasels, and because the weasels and that are all with the cat families. Like there's the mountain lion, there's well, cougar, I guess you call him, bobcat, and lynx. But all those weasels and that are also inside that clan system. But the Martin was adopted into that clan because there used to be 43 clans and now there's 44. And the Martin was considered a brother to the weasel. And the weasels, not the weasel, but the badger. And they adopted him and they took him as their own flesh and blood and their own way. So that's a different one. And the reason why we had the clan system set up was so that we wouldn't have any birth defects with our children and that, because there was one time that one clan did not listen to the teachings and the law that was placed, because these are all laws. And you're not supposed to marry into your own clan. Like you can marry a different hoof, right? But you can't marry into your own clan. But the deer clan did not want to listen. They intermarried with each other. Then they started having children that were sick, having problems with different things. Then eventually they just started dying off, and they were almost completely wiped out. As a matter of fact, the only way that that hoof clan, the deer clan, were able to come back was by intermarrying into other tribes. And through those other tribes, they were able to come back and be amongst our people once again as that hoof clan, the deer clan. But they were almost completely extinct. And the buffalo clan, they thought that because we are called the buffalo people of Turtle Island, we're not really Canadian citizens. We are buffalo people of Turtle Island. And they thought that if they could kill the buffalo, they would kill us off because that's our main food source. So they got Buffalo Bill to go around and to start killing and slaughtering the buffalo and leaving most of the carcasses to rot because all that they took was the hides. And our people cried, because first of all, we respect that animal. We don't leave them to rot like that. We use every piece of that animal in order to survive. And that way we respect that animal so that that life carries on and they're able to help us. And they were almost extinct. And our people really started to suffer. Our people had to find a different way of surviving when that buffalo was taken out. And that survival came in at a price. Like, we started hunting moose and caribou, and we also hunted deer. But, we also had a lot of different things that had happened with our people as well. When they started to realize that our people are versatile and we're able to survive in almost any kind of way, like we would always find a way of surviving. We were able to survive through a lot of different things. So when they started to see that we see our children as being sacred, that's when they started to take our children from us and send them off to the residential schools. Some of the children were stolen. They were placed on planes and trains. A lot of them were just stolen. They were taken without the parents knowing where their children went. All of a sudden, the children were just gone. And this hurt a lot of people. Our people started to fall. And that's the reason why they signed those treaties. Those residential schools were growing rapidly, and our children were being abused uh, quite immensely inside those residential schools, right to the point where the children that were in there the longest were the ones that were learning how to abuse others, like to abuse each other, because that was the way of life that they were taught, since they weren't taught by their own parents. Our structure of life and our way of raising children had all changed because now when our children were coming back from the residential schools, they didn't know us. They didn't know our way of life. They were brainwashed. They didn't know how to pray and smudge with the sweetgrass and that. And they didn't understand our way of life. And our elders and our people started to cry. But when those treaties were signed, they quit listening to the clan mothers because when they signed those treaties, they were told that they were going to be like kings, that they were going to be able to live like a king and they'd never have to listen to another woman, that women were below them. So when those treaties were signed, our women wept. We seen what was going to happen. We seen because they made these promises and all of our real chiefs, most of them were hung or put in jail or shot. And There's a lot of places that they hide that they don't tell people. Like in Winnipeg, there's still a little piece of a wall just off of Main Street and Assiniboine. That wall used to go right across the road, and that wall is where they used to put people and shot them. They'd shoot them right there on that wall. So rather than take the whole thing down, they left a piece of it as a memorial. There's lots of little memories that they kept in order to try and hide the truth. And there's a lot of secrets that they don't say, like they don't want people to know um, the way that they had our way of life structured so that everything would change. That's why now today our people are searching to find their identities and to find who they are and where they belong and what roles that they're supposed to be in and to find kinship. But the one thing that they don't really know or understand right now is that we're related to everything, everything that Creator made, everything that there is a part of us. There isn't anything in this world that hasn't been created by Creator that we aren't related to. While there is some things that are being made now, like we're not related to computers or telephones, right? Those are all man-made things, and we're not related to a lot of different things. For myself, I feel like I'm in a time warp because I'm in a place where I remember the old stories. That's why I can go back and remember these old stories that these people told me, and how these things were, how our life was, and how everything was structured. And I see how the change was between the generations, my grandparents' generation to my mom and dad's generation to my generation and how it is today. You see, they say a long time ago when the men took that took those things that were being offered, because when those treaties were signed, there was big crates of guns, ammunition, and whiskey. And the women wept because they can see how they would be, those men were going to curse our people, because you have to be careful what you do in life, things you say, things you do, how you treat others. And when they took that, they put that mark down, the skull and crossbones, that X, and they took those things that were being offered. We seen how it was going to affect our generations. Today we see it in real life because we no longer need anybody to shoot our people. Our people are shooting their own. And mind you, we have a lot of murdered and missing people that we'll never know what happened to them. They're being shot, and we don't know by who or what or why. And we also have a lot of our kids that are into gangs and things like that, and they're being shot as a result of that. And I can guarantee that most of these incidences, they're not, um, they're either they're either doing drugs or they're doing alcohol, and that's how, when our people took those things, that's how it affected us. Today, our women are battered and beaten. Well, most of them. Some of them are the ones that are doing the battering and the beating, which is sad, but there's no place for our men to go with the children. And, we need to start thinking about life and where our life is and how we as how we can help our people to get back to where it was. Instead of it's just being me and you, why can't it be us? helping one another, helping each other the way it used to be. Because we couldn't have this and that without each other. Because if we were all gifted the same way and we all did the same thing, we really wouldn't need each other. But because we are all different and we're all individuals, we all need each other. And today, well, you can't tell our children who to marry and who not to marry. So we can't deny anybody. All that we can say is that those that are meant to hear those teachings are the ones that are going to hear them. Those that are not meant to hear them won't hear them. But the thing is that we want our children and our grandchildren, no matter what kind of mixed blood they may have, to know and understand these teachings because it's a part of them and a part of their identity and a part of who they are and who they're going to be and what they can do to help their people. And we need to start looking at things like that rather than dividing ourselves because when we allow people to divide us, it's a divide and conquer. We're less powerful. But when we stand together, we have a lot of power in order to help each other. We have a lot of different gifts, a lot of different prayers, and there is only one great spirit. He comes by many different names. Some people call him God or Jesus, Yahweh. Some people call him Gichimanatu. Some people call him Father. You know, they call him by many different names. Some people call him Jehovah, but it comes by many different names. I was going to say many different things, but I think I'll leave it with that because I think you guys already got the idea. Like, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions. Like, even when they talk about how a man has got a lot of different women as wives. You know, they think that our men were allowed to go out and have all these different women and it's okay. Well, no, it wasn't. It was up to the first wife because he had to prove that he can take care of her. And that's why he had to make an offering for that woman because he knew how special she was. And only through her can he have descendants, children. He wouldn't be able to have that life unless he had a woman. So he would do a lot of things. Sometimes they were sent on a quest in order to earn the right to be with that woman. And the elders always made sure that it followed our laws so that they weren't intermarrying through through blood or clan, because that wasn't the way our people were supposed to be. So the elders made sure of those things, and those offerings came, and they had to prove that they can take care of that woman and the family. And some of those men were really good providers and protectors, because that's who men are. The women are the caregivers and the life givers, the water carriers. The men are the fire keepers of the sacred fire, women of the home fire. And we had our different jobs and different things that we had to know. And the thing was is that our men had very much respect for the women. They would never ever think of raising a hand to a woman. To raise their hand to a woman was to disrespect her and her family. And not only that, to respect life and where life came from. So anyway, that's what it was like. And to raise your hand to an elder is like raising your hand to the knowledge keepers as they started to grow old because they understood life and how to survive and they had been through a lot of things and seen a lot of things. So they understood life. So that's where we went for our knowledge and our wisdom, especially if we were stumped about something that was happening in our lives. The other thing was is that the children were raised a certain way. Some of those men took part in the raising of the children, but most of those children, they always had a man and a woman that were outside of mother and father that would help with the raising of that child to make sure that child knew everything that they were supposed to know in order to help them in the community. So everybody was very important. That's how we were able to stand beside each other. We also did things a long time ago, though, to call in our ancestors, like I was saying at the beginning. We'd have songs, we'd have a ceremony, we'd have a feast for them. Because right at this time, this is when the eagle is coming back. That eagle comes back and he brings the ancestors um, from all over, brings them back. So, because it's coming close to that time when everything is going to be melting and life is going to start waking up. But the thing is that those ancestors are there to help us the most between spring and fall. And in the winter, we have other ancestors that we turn to, like the polar bear, like the wolves, like the ones that are still awake. Not all of the animals hibernate. So we also have respect for those that are fasting and that are in their own ceremony during the winter time because they're praying for us because we're the pitiful ones. We're the ones that have been taken away from that closeness to Creator, which is why we need to have pipes and ceremonies now to be connected, where before we never used to need that. And women never needed to carry anything other than medicines and maybe a feather or two and maybe a few rocks, because a woman carries all of her gifts inside of herself. She is the daughter of the Great Spirit. And because she is the daughter of the Great Spirit, once a month or every 28 days, when the moon is full, when grandmother moon becomes full, that woman will bleed, and she bleeds the blood of the Great Spirit. That's why doctors have a hard time understanding why our women don't need blood transfusions during that time. And it's like a celebration when a woman is on her time, because the men would go into sharing circles and they would talk about things that cause them stress. They'd brainstorm solutions to different problems. They would be able to talk amongst each other and let things go. Because our people were people of the heart always. We never used to carry anger, jealousy, greed, or guilt. But when those, I'm going to go back to the story now. When our men um, had more than one wife, it was because of survival. If a woman's sister lost her husband by accident, or maybe during a hunt or a war with another tribe, her and her children would go hungry because their provider is no longer there. And if I really loved my sister a lot, I would take pity. Well, I wouldn't say pity, I'd say empathy for my sister and her family. I would know that my husband is a good provider, and I didn't want my family to go without either. So I'd think it over and make sure that he was able to provide for all of us. And once I seen that he's able to provide for all of us, I would approach my husband and I would ask him to take my sister as his wife. And then I would explain why I wanted him to take her as his wife and to take her children too, because it's a package deal. It's always been a package deal. It's all about life and sharing that life. And those men respected that. And they would think about it too, because you got to think Now they got two women that are moody. Can I go through with that? Can I provide for more than two women? Can I think about it? Because it was a very severe thing. You didn't just go and sleep with somebody for one night. You're talking about life, and everything was about life and survival. So if that man took that girl's sister as his wife, it was for survival and survival of not only the sister, but of all of her children. And then it would be sisters that shared their husband. And like I said, survival. So it would depend on if everybody's husband in the family was going to be good. So there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different things that our people did in order to survive. Like I said, we didn't just go out and decide to uh, go from woman to woman to woman or man to man to man. And it was a very sacred thing to be with a partner because those areas of ourselves represent things that are in the sky. We represent those pipes, right? The woman pipe, the man pipe, and there's a lot of different things that are there, and we need to respect those things, respect that knowledge and understanding. So sometimes today, because I understand things in a different way, I get kind of confused as to, like what's really happening. I even get confused now with the language because the language that I grew up with when I was young has all changed, and I was even told that the language that I speak and understand is a dying language because it's harder. It's um, people are not understanding those things, and I find it very hard that they can't understand me when I talk. But somebody said, like one time I went in and I said, well, I says I'm Mi'kmaq. I says so I'm fair skinned because on the that side of them there's hasn't been a dark one in our family for 4 generations. Well, my son was the first one to be born with dark skin, but I only have one child that's born with dark skin. I have two others that are born fair because my grandfather also had my grandfathers. They had my grandfather on my mom's side. He was Norseman and Dakota, and he had Anishinaabe. And then on my dad's side, he had Mi'kmaq and he had Scotsman. But because of that, I have two children that are fair. One looks exactly like me, and one's even lighter. He's got sky blue eyes and blonde hair. And I got one, like I said, the one child that's really dark. And even though my son that's really dark has had a hard life, he doesn't realize how much he was honored in the family because uh, because of that. Anyway, what time is it now?
It's 2 o'clock. Did you want to take a quick break?
Yeah, we'll take a quick break.
All right. So, if anyone wants to run to the washroom, grab some fresh air, maybe a fresh cup of tea or something, we'll come back in 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, talk to you then.
Yeah. While we wait, I'll just play some intermission music for you all. There's a really great playlist on Spotify called Anishinaabe Moen, and there's some great artists. This one is the Red Shadow Singers. Did you want to get going again, Sharon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. There's some questions, but we can wait till the end if you'd like.
Okay,
It's up to you.
all right. So anyway, when our children were in the residential schools, they didn't want the children to know our native way of life. They wanted to beat the Indian out of the child. So they didn't want them to know or understand our way of life and who we are and what we are and what it is that we understand. Today we struggle to try and find and to try and live the way that we normally live. Some people are so gifted to be able to trap and hunt and fish the way that we used to and to live off the land like that. I've done a lot of traveling around. Like I said, I am of the Crane clan. My spirit names in I'll translate them into English. Ompad Misto Chikijet Nintalawisi is in the Mi'kmaq language. My great grandmother asked for permission to give give me that name before she passed, and my great great grandmother used to tell a lot of stories of me long before my birth. And my spirit name is White Buffalo Woman, and I didn't really want to take that name. I went down south. I went down to South Dakota in order to ask the family of the White Buffalo Calf Carrier if that really was my name, because I was kind of confused. I knew that it was a sacred name and a sacred being, and I didn't want to just go around and because I understood the meaning of the name is, you've got work to do. You'll have to do your work in accordance with the names that you're given. And so I went down there and I started to ask them questions, and they did a ceremony. And later on, I was told, so how did you come down here? And they said, is this your car? And I said, yeah, that's my car. They said, oh, what kind of a car is it? I said, that's a Thunderbird. Yeah, we were told a Thunderbird was going to bring you. We were told a Thunderbird was coming with you. They were going to bring you back to us. We need to do some talking. So anyway, but they told me that really is my name, and I'm to carry it proudly. Not too proudly though, because I'm still a part of the people. I still suffer and bleed the same as everybody else, and I still make mistakes like everybody else. So I'm no better than anybody. I'm equal to everyone, and everyone is equal to me. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming today and listening to me, because I want to honor you as well. I also want to acknowledge the fact that uh, they weren't kidding when they said I had a big responsibility. And my other name that I have is sounds like the tips of the feathers or the wings. And um, they say that the reason why I have that name is because when I was a little girl, I was given a name Bungans. And I was told that the translation of that name meant like a quiet lagoon. So I wasn't able to talk. I wasn't able to share the things that I was told or what I was being taught, because if they found out that they were teaching me these things, the people that were teaching me could have went to jail, and some of them might have even lost their lives. So I had to learn to be quiet. So I carried that, and I never spoke very much. But when I did speak, my grandfather, he was pretty proud of me. And I don't know why he was proud of me, but he was. Maybe I said some good things I tried not to say too much because it wasn't time for me to speak. It was just time for me to learn. And now that I'm older, it's time for me to speak and to share these teachings that I have with the people. And if it wasn't for the people, for all of you who's coming to listen, I wouldn't have anything because I'd have the knowledge. But if it's not being shared and it's not growing and going to the people and for the people to helping the people to find out who they are and what they are and to start helping them with their search for life and that good life of a creator, then it's nothing at all. It's just going to die when I die. So I'm very grateful that I'm able to share those things with you today. And there's a lot of other things that we need to talk about. But right now, I want to be able to answer some of your questions in order to clarify anything so that you guys can be able to have that help that it is that you need.
Okay, so I've got a list of questions going. I'm just going to work through the ones that have been asked already, and then if anybody would like to add to that, we can unmute in a minute. But the first question is, are all of the clans equal? Can a person belong to only one clan or multiple?
Um, some people have been adopted by other clans. What happened?
Oh, no, nothing.
Okay, some people have been adopted by other clans. So because they have been adopted like through their travels, they're like say somebody in a family who lost somebody and that person was really dear to them. Then they come across you and you remind them of that person that they lost. They'll automatically adopt you as one of their own so that so that they no longer miss that individual. So you become a part of their family too. But your main family is the one that you're born into, and the other ones are your other families. Because we as Anishinaabe people and tribal people, I don't like to say bands because we don't sit there and play guitars and beat on drums, but we uh, we do a lot of adopting and we do a lot of sharing. So that's the reason why some people will have more than one clan. Like it's very interesting how we do things, but that's the old way. That's the very old way of life.
So another question is there a way to find out what clan an ancestor who has passed on belonged to?
There are ways of finding out. If you, the first thing you do though is you talk to other family members and find out if they know or the older ones. And if they still don't know, if you can't find that way, you can take tobacco and a gift to a ceremony, either a shake tent or a sweat lodge, or just ask somebody who's good with naming and clans. When you go to get, some people don't get their spirit name until they're older. Me, I got my spirit name long time ago when I was small. When I first went to school, for the first month, they used to call, they do roll call. And finally, the teacher come up to me and she said to me, she goes, how come you never answer? She says, in roll call when I call your name. I looked at her, I says, you never called my name. She goes, yeah. She says, I call your name every day. I says, well, what do you call me? She says, I call you Sharon Word. I says, well, that's the problem. I says, Bungans Nanish Nakaz. And like, this is my name. My name is Pungans. And she turned around, she didn't know what to say. Then I guess she had a talk with my mom and dad, and they explained to me that when I'm in school, I have to use that name. But I also explained to my mom when I got older that I didn't want to sit through the Lord's Prayer and singing "O Canada" and "God Save the Queen," because none of those things have anything to do with me or my way of life. So my mom told me that it was okay for me to stand outside the classroom and go in once they're all finished, because that's their way and to respect their way. So that's what I used to do until finally they changed it, because the group of kids that when I went to school, the group of kids that used to stand outside the classroom with me started getting bigger and bigger once they started to realize what it was I was doing. So they just changed it. But yeah, the clan system is very important, and yes, we do adopt people. So that's why you can say, and I'm adopted by this clan.
Mhm.
Okay, I hope I answered that for you.
Um, Another question is which clan to follow, the mothers or the fathers? And they said it seems to be an age-old question.
Most people follow them today. Most people follow the father's clan, and when they're searching for the clan, they always ask about the father's clan. So it's usually the father's clan that they give. However, if you go to them and you ask them if you can have your mother's clan, they will search your mother's clan for you, because that's the clan that we're originally supposed to follow. See, like for me, I was told when I did, they didn't tell me which clan I was from when I was small. But when I started getting older, my dad come up to me and my dad told me, he says, my mother is from a beaver clan. My father is from a buffalo clan. But when I went to a ceremony, they told me I was from a buffalo clan. So I believed that for a long time. Then finally, I went to my grandmother, and my grandmother told me, she says, no, she says, Sharon, it's very important. You need to know what your clan is. And she says, I'm a Crane clan, and you're my clan. You need to know and understand that. So I follow the Crane clan. And I also understand now what my role and responsibility is, because it was put into perspective for me. So that's the reason why at one time I traveled so much they called me Four Directions Woman. uh,
Yeah, we can only wish to travel so
uh,
much these days. But next
uh,
question is, I understand that there is a Mer clan and a Thunderbird clan. Could you talk about those?
what clan?
Mer clan, I think like the mermen or people,
Yeah.
and the Thunderbird clan.
Um, we we acknowledge those beings, and we acknowledge the Thunderbirds, because the Thunderbirds, they bring the rain. They also bring the snow, and they also take care of us here on the land from that snake that lives in the waters. And they're very powerful clans. They're also Thunderbirds are also considered warriors, eh? And the Mer clans are they don't really acknowledge those things. Like people today don't normally acknowledge them, but I do. I acknowledge the Thunderbird. I also acknowledge the Mer, because the Mer clans. They say that there's a story that goes with the Mer clan people, and it goes like this. They say that a long time ago down south, those are our people as well. They're not immigrants, they're what we call migrants, but they're our people. And anyway, what had happened was is that technology was starting to grow strong, and those are the ones that were on the Atlantic side of the world, of our land. And then there was the Mayan people. They said that they had a choice as to what it was that they wanted in life, and the Atlanteans chose more of technology, but the Mayans chose the spiritual. So what had happened is that during um, during a certain time in our lives, the events that had occurred shook the world so much that the Atlanteans went under the water and they became mer people. They survived, but they became mer people. And the Mayans went up to the sky, and they believe that that's what they call, because there is an ozone. That's a natural ozone, an opening into the structure of this world. And that ozone, they believe, was created by the Mayan people. So anyway, that's the reason why we say the Mayans went to where the Thunderbirds were, and the Atlanteans went into the waters, and they became those two clans.
I'm always fascinated by stories like that, the the water people. Um, so thank you. Another question is, I guess, kind of a comment. I've always been told that if you are a certain clan, that you don't eat that animal, I guess, or that clan symbol. So if you are a fish, you don't eat fish. Your bear clan, you don't eat bear. I'd like to have more clarification on that. Can you speak a bit more about it?
Most people don't eat their clan. Some people can't because it'll make them ill. And but there are some people nowadays, because they take care of that spirit of the Windigo. They are not Windigos, but they are allowed to eat their animal, the animal of the animal of their clan. And the reason why they are allowed to is because they are backwards. They're not eating the people, they're eating the animal of that clan. But that animal is giving their life in order to help them to become stronger. And anyway, it's a whole different teaching in order to try and understand that whole concept. But there are some clan members, like there's some people that are allowed to eat their clan, um, just not the real people.
Mhm.
So anyway, and it's because they take care of that Wendigo spirit, and that Wendigo spirit is very, very backwards. Okay, so is there? I hope I answered that for you.
Yeah, there's there's quite a list of questions, so
Okay.
I'll just continue on. Can you say the names of the clans in Anishinaabemowin?
Well, I could, but some of the words have changed, so I'm not able to. If I was to say them, some people wouldn't understand them, because the dialect that I use is from the 1800s. That's the reason why they say it's a dying language that I speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's best that I don't try, because some people have questioned me because I look so fair that I don't look like I can speak. But when I speak my language and I ask them if they can translate it, they just look at me, and then they say, "Well, what did you say?" And then I'll explain to them after they tell me what they heard and how they translated it, and then I'll tell them, "Well, it's not the same exactly." So I'll explain to you, and then I tell them what it meant. So that's the reason why there's a bit of a not a mix-up, but a misunderstanding, if I was to say it. But most of them are the same.
Okay. Okay. can respect
Okay.
that. I think that the the difference in dialects are pretty prevalent, especially now. Um, I know my mom's Dene from the west, and I grew up in Treaty Five with the Saisi Dene, and it was still difficult to to speak the language to each other, but um, and then also in Nunavut, I think because the communities are so isolated, sometimes you get those extreme differences in dialects. So um, yeah, so thank you. We'll go on to the next question. How do we find a clan mother?
Well, they're usually the ones who are more outspoken, and they're the ones that will stand up um, in order to say something in order to help the people. And they're usually the ones that are firstborn or lastborn.
Mm-hmm,
And the clan mothers, the people know which ones are going to be clan mothers before they're born. They start dreaming about them, so they know which ones are going to be who long before then,
mm-hmm,
and why it's so important for them to know different things. So that's how you find them. They're not chosen. They're chosen by the Great Spirit only, not by people. A
mm-hmm,
lot of people think that they're chosen because they're firstborn or lastborn, but it's the Great Spirit that chooses a clan mother. And those clan mothers are, it seems like they're born with a certain amount of knowledge that, like they're able to connect to their blood and memory
mm-hmm.
a lot easier than some people. And I hope that I've answered that question for you.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that was a good answer. The next question kind of relates to the title of this series, which is Reclaiming Cultural Connections, Reigniting Blood Memory. But somebody had
Mhm.
asked, so due to the effects of colonization, I know a lot of people have experienced that disconnect in culture. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, having having been, moved away from their community or part of the '60s scoop. So if your family clan or like you don't have your clan name, how would you kind of reconnect to that or build those connections again?
Well, like I said earlier, you can start by questioning people in your family if you know who your family is. But because of all the things that have happened, because there's 60 scoop, there's those children were adopted, and some of them were adopted overseas. Well, when we say adopted, we actually mean they were sold. And so there's 60 scoop, there's murdered and missing women, there's residential school, there's day school. So a lot of the disconnection happened right there because the children were all taken away. They found lots of different ways of taking away the children. They're still doing it today. But the thing is that at least now they're acknowledging that they made some mistakes and are trying to find ways to correct it. But anyway, because of the disconnection, it disconnected them from their family, from the knowledge keepers within that family,
Mm-hmm,
and any because there are some that still have that knowledge. They may drink, they may do drugs, they may live unhealthy lives, but yet they're able to go out and pick medicines that are very valuable to our people and that are very important for everything. And then there's when we talk about reuniting, reconnecting these teachings, when you're listening to the teachings, what happens is that it kind of gives us a little spark that says, "Oh yeah, oh that's why that is," or "I knew that." and you can't understand why you knew it, because what it's doing is that they're sending little waves to you to wake up your spirit so that you will be able to understand and know who you are, and you'll start to understand that way of life. You can wake up and find it. Sometimes people have to they have to take tobacco and a gift of some kind, sometimes print to people in order to find their clans or to find their spirit name, their colors, those kind of things. They can do it. There's shake tent people, there's sweat lodge people, there are Madewin people, there's people that are within the depends on what kind of ceremonies you have and in your way or what's around you. And the thing is to always remember to give respect to all ways of life. We may have a little. Our teachings are basically the same. They have all the same basic foundations. They may be said or done a little differently, but to have respect for all, because whatever it is that you may not agree with right now, maybe one day down the road you'll start to understand the connection. So that's how that is, and hopefully I've answered that for you.
Mhm. Yolanda said something nice in the chat. She said, for those who are removed, there is some knowledge that remains and it comes back when it is time. Everything's connected. I think that comes back to the, you were explaining it, that blood memory.
Yeah.
Um, so move on to the next question. When Nana Buju brought Anishinaabe to the East Coast to give us the clans, was that when the seven prophets appeared from the water?
I'm not exactly sure as to when that time had come, but I do know that it was a very long time ago. And we still don't have a word for prophet in the language. Just somebody who has lived before, um, or somebody who knows from before. But anyway, that's where that's at, and I don't actually know the exact time frame because we didn't actually acknowledge time the same way as other people. Like we acknowledge the our time system is not the same as the calendar system that is in place right now. Calendar system is based on 12 months. We go by either 13 moons or we go by 9 months of birth. So by saying that, that's a natural, more of a natural way. But right now, I think we're at a place where we follow a Julian calendar, and that goes by dates, months, and years. But for us, we just say it's many moons ago.
Mm-hmm.
We never had really a calendar system like that. We have um, we have a winter count, which is painted on hides, and we talk about those stories of when they had happened. And I have, even though I carry the teaching of Nana Bourgeois when he went to the East Coast and gave the people the spirit, like the clans and that, I don't have that winter count. So it's really hard for me to say because when we talk about these things, we have to be as honest as we can be. And I'm sharing that with you because I honestly don't know, and that's my truth. So
Yeah,
hopefully I've answered it for you, though.
thank you. I'm just gonna skip ahead because there's another question. Um, I'm not familiar with the name Makwa, but somebody had said that we usually honor Makwa this month. Is there a certain date to do this feeding and honoring?
Um, well, usually I don't know, but I usually honored Spirit of the Makwa in December. and in January, because January is when the baby bears are being born, and December is the spirit bear, when that bear in the sky turns. Um, and February, I usually honor the eagles when they come back. But there is a time close to the end of the month when the feast is done for the spirit of that bear when it's waking up. But right now, from what I understand, because the weather is so crazy, that the bear is already starting to wake up, and that's not a good omen for people in those areas where they're waking up.
Mhm.
So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. And but yeah,
So,
usually by the end of the month or close to March is a good time because those bears are waking up, and right now they're starting to wake up a little early than what they normally do.
mhm.
And all we can do is put tobacco out and pray for those people and those bears because it's making it hard for them right now.
Yeah,
And I hope I've answered that one for you.
yeah. There's actually another question about the Bear Clan. Is there a story or teaching behind how the Bear Clan was given the responsibility of being the medicine keeper?
Yeah, actually, there is. There's a story of the bear a long, long time ago. That bear was wandering around and come across different animals, and all these animals needed help, and the bear was the only one that was able to help them. He gave one medicine. He took something out of some another one, and the third one he ate something that was inside of somebody. And when the Great Spirit seen what that bear was doing and how he was helping the other animals, he gave that responsibility to that bear. And the bear also would, for some things that weren't right, that bear was the one who set it straight. And that's the reason why that bear also takes care of the justice system, the our law. He follows through with whatever the clan mothers say. Sometimes it's to strip somebody of their gifts and they have to re-earn them,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's to just put them. That's their way of, I guess, putting them out in the bush for a while to learn to survive. To learn to survive without their gifts if they're going to misuse them, because Creator didn't create our gifts to for us to misuse. They're created to help one another in order to survive. And anyway, I go right into detail with that story, but right now I don't think that we have enough time for that. I hope that I've answered it for you, though.
Yeah, I think there's still a few more questions, so we'll continue on. But maybe
Okay.
we can do a bear teaching in the future. Maybe something.
Yeah.
So the next question is about the seventh and eighth fire prophecies. Um, how do those connect to our clan system, if they do?
Well, they do happen to connect with our clan system. As a matter of fact, they connect with all of our people. Those prophecies that you're talking about, they came from the birch bark scrolls, and those scrolls were created 2,000 years before any other nation came to this land. And what we're talking about is before the Norsemen came here, and before 408, they were here before the 400 AD, and they were called our brothers and sisters because they were all warriors, both male and female. But anyway, it's long before then that those things came. 2,000 years before they came here then. And It was prophesied that there would be other nations that would come and that there would be fire coming from the skies and that eight fire would be lit and out of the ashes would rise a new nation of mankind. And that prophecy says that all the people that come out of that ashes, they will be of one spiritual belief, and that belief will be to that they'll be follow one spiritual way of life, and that will be the life of our great spirit. And the eighth fire, I believe, is very close here and now. But there's never an ending without a beginning. There's nothing that ever ends without a new beginning. That's how life goes on. That's how come they call it Omega. Omega, I believe, is the word that they use in order to explain that that part. It's never an ending without a beginning. And our clan system is closely affected because that includes all of the clans. All of the clans are going to become forward and they're all going to be coming out of those ashes. It's just that they're going to be a new age of people. And it's the rainbow warriors that are going to be fighting for those people. And the rainbow warriors are people of all clans, but they are of all nations as well.
Mhm.
So that's where that's at. Anyway, I hope I've helped, that I've explained
Yeah, I
that I've
have
helped you with that question.
yeah, I have a connected question, and it's just something that I thought of now. Somebody in the chat was just uh, mentioning that they're of settler ancestry, Ukrainian and Celtic, and her daughter, who is 6, is watching with her and asked what their clan is. And I think I remember you mentioning in the past that um, people from other continents have their own clan systems, and and do you want to talk about that? Because I found that so interesting.
Okay. There's one time that I talked about when all nations, when Creator created all nations, and He created the red people, the blue people, the white people, the yellow people. When He created all four nations of mankind, He created both male and female, just like He did with all the animals and all the trees and everything else. They have both got both male and female. And when He created, when I shouldn't say when He created, when the Great Spirit, the Creator, created all people, the Creator created everyone to have one spiritual belief. So at one time, we all had the same spiritual belief. We all had the same way of life. We all had drums and rattles and pipes, and we all had our sacred fires and our way of life.
Mhm.
And then, when it came time for us to go into the directions that we were meant to be in, and we left aside a Creator, and Creator blessed us with different gifts. We all had that way of life, that connection to Creator, the same way. And that's why they say one day that'll all come back. I'm going to tell you a story that I don't normally share with people, but I think it needs to be shared. It's a story about this man, this man that came across the waters, and that man was was supposed to when he came across the waters, he came here, and our people had dreams and visions of him coming. So we all started to come here. That's why this place here where we're at, it's called, actually, it's not called Manitoba. It's called Manituape, and it means where the spirit sits. Because we didn't believe that this man was an actual man, that he was a spirit, because he was walking on the water. And he came here and he was walking on the water. We waited by the Hudson's Bay. all around the Hudson's Bay. So when he came to the water, he came and he gave us our way of life and the things that we're supposed to do and the things that we're not supposed to do. We were given our law of 128 laws and how we're supposed to govern ourselves and the way that we're supposed to live, the way we're supposed to use our gifts and how we honor life and how we take care of life and how we do the things that we do. We were given all of that. And we had signed at that time, we had made, well, it wasn't really a signing. It was, we made an agreement, a treaty with the spirit, and they were placed into bowls. There is the bear bowl, the eagle bowl, the buffalo bowl, and the whale bowl, and they were made into those bowls. And when the Great Spirit, the Creator, the Great Spirit went back, like everywhere he sat, there was you could see where he sat. You could see his butt formed inside the rocks, just the same as Nana Bojo's feet in the rocks. So when this man left, he started to walk out into the water and he stopped 4 times before he left and looked back at the people. Then finally, the fourth time, he turned around and he said to the people, I tell you, hold on to all these teachings that I give you, because one day, if I do not come back here, because my people are going to kill me over there, if I do not come back, you hold on to these teachings, because one day all of mankind will have to go to you in order to find me. So that's the reason why we have these teachings, is because of that spirit, a Manituape,
Mm-hmm.
because Manituape never came back to the land, so we know that he was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Uh, this next one is about, the current state of COVID. I know it's hard to be part of community and do ceremony at this time, but the question is, how do you find out what you need to do to honor your clan, especially now during the pandemic?
Well, what I would do right now is everybody knows how to, if you smudge with sage or sweetgrass, smudge a plate of food and maybe some cloth and put it out for your family members, your clan members. If you know your clan, if you don't know your clan, for those that have passed on, because those are your clan members.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of them and walk with them in a good sacred way, and they will walk with you in a good sacred way.
Mm-hmm.
And you could take care of them that way. And if we're still in this pandemic by spring, people can make individual sweats, little tiny sweats, and they can sweat themselves. You don't need to have a big sweat lodge to go to in order to have a sweat. And all you really need is 7 little rocks,
Mm-hmm.
and just until it's over anyway, because we need to try and find that balance for ourselves as well. And once we're able to open up bigger sweats and more ceremonies, then that's even better. Then we can start coming together slowly but safely. And remember to always pray, ask for that help and guidance, and pray for COVID to not bother you or your family members, because they say that everything has a spirit, and I believe that some of the sicknesses also have spirits. So just pray for those things not to bother you and your family members. All right, and I hope that I've answered that for you.
Mm-hmm. Um, So I'm I forget who answered or who asked the question. It's quite a ways back in the feed, but um, this person doesn't often hear about their clan, which is the Wolverine clan. Could you share a bit about what you know of that clan?
Oh, for sure. The Wolverine clan is a part of that warrior clan. A lot of our war vets, like my uncle Sergeant Tommy Prince, he was a Wolverine clan. When he was in battle, he relied on his clan in order to help guide him through the bush. He had a bad habit though of taking off on his platoons because he was also what do you call that? He was a code talker, and he would interpret things the way that when they came in, and sometimes he would take off and he'd leave his battalion behind. Sometimes they thought that he was what do you call that when you run away,
Oh, a
when you take
deserter, a
like
deserter.
when you would take off on your platoon, because he used to take off on them. But when he came back, sometimes he came back with prisoners, and they would ask him, "Well, why did you do that?" And he said, "Well, you guys aren't that great in the bush." He says, "I don't want to get killed." And other times he just wanted to go out and get drunk. But yeah, the Wolverine clan is a very powerful clan.
Mhm,
There's a reason why that Wolverine nobody wants to talk about that Wolverine, because that Wolverine is a very dangerous one as well, eh?
mhm,
They're very strong people, strong willed, strong mind,
yeah,
and they have a lot to offer for the people though, and very honorable clan. So I hope that I've answered that for you.
mhm. My dad's a trapper, and I've heard him talk about wolverines many times, and they're not like huge animals, but they're also animals that you don't want to mess with. You just
Yeah,
give them their space and let them do their thing. Another
yeah.
question about another clan is the loon clan. So somebody asked, do you have any stories that connect the loon and their responsibility to the stars on the loon's back?
Well, the loon, a long time ago, the loon really wanted to be part of people. See, the loon wasn't supposed to walk amongst the people. So Nana Bourgeois, he was trying to teach that loon how to uh, how to be the way that he is, because the loon really didn't want to listen. And the loon thought that he was really good because he did have those marks on his back of the stars, the Star Nation, and he also had the rings around his neck of the at least a few, two of the levels. But Nana Bourgeois said that he wasn't walking in humility, and he wanted to walk. He wanted to put himself up there. So Nana Bourgeois, he turned around and he said, "Okay," he says, you wanna walk amongst people." So Nana Bourgeois walked in behind him. He smacked him in the back of the head, and the loon's head and shoulders and that all moved forward. And Nana Bourgeois walked around to the front of him. He says, "Yeah," he says, "well," he says, "I think you have some things that you need to learn too." So he stepped on the loon's feet, he poked him in the eyes, and he smacked him in the back of the head one more time. And when he did that, he made the loon's eyes red, and he made the loon's feet move back further, and the loon was now in the water. So the loon does a lot of things. Sometimes that song that the loon sings can be very soothing. But yet, if there's a lot of them, it's also a warning of death. The loon loves the people a lot. That's why the loon works closely with the people. And they're the ones that are usually the ones that are the heads of the clan, the inner clan,
Mhm.
like the in the community. And the crane is the one that's the head clan for outside of the community. They're the ones that travel around and learn a lot of things and take it back to the people.
Mhm.
Usually it's things that help to govern the people or help them to govern themselves. And the crane is important, but the loon is even closer. So I hope that I've answered that for you.
Yeah, I love that story, um, that teaching. The next question was asked a few times, but just in regards to which parent you would, I guess, adopt or take your clan after for two spirit same sex couples. What what would you say about, which clan you would take after?
Well, if two spirit same-sex couples have a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
That child takes on can take on both of their clans, even though the child may not end up being two-spirited. It's just that that child loves the parents and the parents love them equally because the parents are two-spirited, and there's that common goal, like that common respect in the relationship between both male and female energies. And you can't put one over the other when it comes to that. And the child is adopted, so the child will actually have sometimes two or three clans, and that's acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But the clan that the boy or the girl would carry the strongest would be their biological parents' clan, but also acknowledge their other clans as well, because
Mm-hmm.
two-spirited people are very, very gifted, and they're very honored because they can do things both male and female. So it doesn't really matter like which clan it is, and because they are so connected in that wave through the energy, the male and female, they can be both. You can't determine. It's not up to us to determine if they're male or female. It's up to the Great Spirit who recognizes them. So for us, we just honor both of them and also the biological. So I hope that I've answered that question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd
Um,
like to. I also want to say thank you for that question because that also clears up a lot of things for some people. Thank you.
mhm. Thank you. I think maybe in the past there hasn't been a lot of teachings about the two spirit, ways of being. So it's nice to hear those teachings. And I know we've had Albert join us recently talking about two spirit resurgence. And we plan to have two spirit jingle dress dancer join us in a few weeks. So it, I really enjoy hearing those teachings as well. Um, Maybe we'll just do a few more questions. I don't think we'll make it to all the questions. There's quite a few, but I've put into the chat our email address, and if anybody has any follow up questions, or if you'd like to connect with Sharon afterwards, in addition to being one of our very respected knowledge keepers, Sharon's also a resolution health support worker. So um, she is able to give supports in that way as well. So if you're interested, I know there's a question about connecting with her afterwards. So um, if anybody is interested in doing that, you can email us admin, I'll write it again, admin at anish.ca. And we'll go on to another question. Um, oh, this one's nice. Could you speak to the practice of when fish look up to the stars? Is this connected to the responsibility of astrology and looking into the future for the fish clans?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's their ability to know and to understand those things that are up ahead, because we need to know and prepare. Like if it's going to be, say, we're going to have a famine, or maybe it's too hot or too cold for the plants and the farming. These things are all very important for us to know ahead of time so that we can be prepared for these weather changes. That's the reason why our people have been able to survive all of the last um, the last eight uh, what do you call those, when you have an ice age.
Ice Age, yeah.
We have an ice age. Well, the ice age doesn't always last for very long, but the thing is that, and right now we're very close to having one. Not as severe, but we're in a vortex.
It's very
So
cold
it's
out, yeah.
basically very cold, yeah. But if they're able to navigate the stars and the skies, like for myself, I was taught how to predict the weather the night before. So I only know the weather the day before, right? And how to prepare myself for the next day. But
Mm-hmm.
there's some people like the fish people, they're able to tell you, you know, that you need to harvest more this year because next year we're going to go through a famine. We're going to need extra foods. We're going to have to have extra things. Maybe we want to stay closer to the buffalo or to the moose or the caribou, you know, in order to survive so that we have extra proteins and meats. And another thing about our way of life is that in today's world, especially in the north, doctors and nurses, they're more than willing to try and buy food like wild meat and game, fish and stuff like that, because they know that our way of life is healthier. If we didn't eat all of the foods that we buy in stores, we wouldn't have diabetes. My grandmother never had diabetes until my grandfather couldn't trap anymore. And after 1 year of my grandfather not trapping and my grandmother having to eat uh, store-bought foods, that's when she got diabetes. But yet it wasn't diabetes that took her life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes I wonder about um, the differences in diets, and I know I've heard recently the idea of eating seasonally. So kind of sticking to what people would traditionally eat, like during the winter versus the summer, and that sort of thing. And I I think there's a more awareness, and being brought up about what eating healthy looks like, and going back to the land um, for nutrition. I know a lot of people in more isolated communities and like further north, it's more accessible than here in the cities, but you know just talking about it more, I think,
Mhm.
is important too. So um, another question, you had mentioned in your previous teachings about blood memory, and then also how each clan has, I guess, responsibilities or certain traits that they lean towards, and it's an indication of their clan. How would you, I guess, talk about how those two are connected, your blood memory and your clan responsibilities, or things like that.
Well, some people just automatically are drawn to different things, and it's your spirit that's drawing you to towards those things. Like there's some people that have like say a fish clan or a turtle clan, they have an automatic like they just automatically start doing these things. They'll go out and they'll negotiate a brand new car for a little bit of money and smaller payments, and or they're able to navigate through the stars. Like they know how things are going to be up ahead just by looking at the stars. Some of them read cards, but most of them are just loving the fact of reading the stars. It's more than just um, a unique fascination. It's that it's inside of them, and they're just drawn to those things automatically. They'll
Mm-hmm.
go out and they'll watch the skies just because.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Bear Clan people, they'll go out and they'll start picking medicines, and they start as they're picking them. Sometimes they're given those teachings what these medicines are about, right? Those are uniting your blood. It's reuniting your blood memory. It's kicking everything is kicking in the way that it's supposed to, but you're guided to those things. It's a part of you already. And a lot of people don't even know that it's there or why it's there. And then there's some people that are Eagle Clan. They'll just walk around and they gathering paper, they're gathering books, they're gathering different things to read that they want to learn so much more. And yet they're very gifted with plants. Very gifted. Like they don't even realize that they're already practicing their way of life, like that according to their clan systems.
Mm-hmm.
And Hoof clan people are very gifted with painting and music and all kinds of things, painting, music, singing. Some are very creative with other things like beadwork, leather work. Mind you, all the clans do all of those things, but there's some that are very uniquely gifted that they can do things that others can't. And,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't even realize that that's part of their clan. That's a part of their blood memory. They just
Mm-hmm.
automatically know. And I hope that I've answered that.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to add my face to the screen here for the last few questions. Yeah, I really like the idea of, and there's almost like a reassurance in knowing that your clan, is in your spirit, and it's not it's good to know it, but whether you know it or not, like your clan is still your clan. Um, so that's
Mhm.
very beautiful. Um, there was one here. Oh, just a question about the Crane clan. Somebody is told that they're from the Bittern clan, and they're wondering if that's the same as the Crane clan. I'm not sure what a bittern is. It's a type of bird, perhaps. No. Have you heard of the Bittern clan?
No, I haven't actually heard of that clan, but that's that's a good question.
Mm,
I'd like to know what the bitterin is,
yeah. Um, maybe whoever asked
because
that
if
question
it's
can connect with us.
it might be a name. Like it might be a name. Maybe there's some Scottish blood there or Irish blood, and that's where that part comes in because the clan system there they go by their names,
Hmm.
right?
It's
And they will say that I am from the like.
mm, I just googled it quickly.
Go ahead.
uh, it's a it's a type
Okay,
of bird.
it
So
is.
yeah, so it's I guess one of the bird clans.
Yeah, it must be one of the, okay, yeah, because the the thing is that I I don't know all those new names for all the birds.
Mhm.
I'm still in the century when the where like I said I think I said it once before. I'm in the generation of when uh, poplar was called Ogiamamatik, right? It's not called poplar, right? It's called
Mhm.
Ogiamamatik. And then there's another one where kind of loses in the translation, or where he stands alone, right? That's a tall pine. So I don't know people. I don't know those things and the new names. Yeah. So yeah, I feel that
Yeah.
I'd like to look up on that one and see more about it. But the bird clans are very unique. They're a lot. They are a lot of teachers, eh?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
A lot of the teachers. They're gifted with teaching and learning and understanding, and that's why I say, like, they're they like to look for that knowledge, and they like to be farmers as well. But the birds are they're very instrumental in a lot of things because they see things in a different way, because they can see things from land, right? From land, from the sky, and also from water, right? So
Interesting.
that's the reason why the later clans are bird clans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to do some more looking into that one. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess there's quite a few. Maybe you'd call them sub clans, or like I know you had mentioned hoof clans, but hoof clans could refer to deer, moose, caribou.
you're
So
on.
I guess it kind of breaks down. But um, another question that I saw a few different times was if you could speak about the Sabe clan. Like, is there a Sabe clan, or
Okay.
about what that is?
All right. I was just informed that before I answer that one, I was just informed that the Bitterin is from the Huron,
Oh,
and it's a crane. It is a crane. It's just a
okay.
different kind of a crane. Different cranes are from different areas, right? Like somebody asked me one time, "You're from the Crane clan. Which crane are you from?"
Oh.
Right? And I answered, "I'm from the Northern Crane because my great great grandmother is from the north. She was Cree."
Hmm.
So that's the reason why I say that I was from the Northern clan, Northern Crane. And hope that I answered that. Those cranes are very important. And for the Sabe has a clan. The Sabe are people who are basically people who want they're introverts. They look inside themselves, and they don't normally go out to they don't like very big crowds. They like to stay alone sometimes, and they're very instrumental though. They are protectors, and they are tricksters, and they really like to make people laugh. But they're so honest that it's unbelievable, the honesty that they have, and the things that they're able to share. Sometimes their honesty is brutal because um, they uh, they um, they also have a way of saying things like sometimes people think that like that the sabe is a very kind and animal, and that sometimes sabe, if you see sabe, he's coming to tell you that there's something that's not right, and he's kind of giving you a warning so that to let you know that that's got to be fixed. amongst the people. But the thing is that that's brutal honesty. Like one time, I remember somebody said that they spotted Sabe, and right in that very spot where they seen Sabe, a man was killed, and it had to do with domestic violence. So, that was up to the community to understand that and to try and do something about domestic violence inside the community. So that's what I say. Like, Sabe's honesty is brutal sometimes, but yet in the same sense, it can be very beautiful because Sabe can see the most beautiful things inside the people that we have a hard time looking at. We all see the negative things about ourselves, but we never acknowledge the things that are beautiful about us. And Sabe will come out and say that. But yeah, Sabe likes to live his life in solitude and doesn't really share too much. Like he doesn't like going out too much with people. And Sabe is kind of funny because Sabe, when he sees a skinny tree like this, he'll sit behind it and he'll go, "Oh,"
Try to hide.
try and hide it. Yeah. Yeah.
Amanda says she thinks she's married to a Sabe. That's funny. Uh, yeah, I've always been fascinated by the story of the Sabe because it's not uh, a being that you see, in nature very often. I think that it's well, I always thought it would be like a special, exciting thing to see. But now if the Sabes, comes to warn you about things, maybe not so much. But yeah. So
Yeah.
did you want to take maybe one more question and then we'll close up?
Sure.
Okay. Let's do one from earlier. Well, actually, let's do this. Did anybody want to speak a question? If you'd like to unmute your mic. I forgot to ask this earlier. I should have done maybe speaking questions first, but if
Hmm.
anybody is interested in unmuting themselves to ask a question, you're welcome. Like Rosa.
Hello. Um, my partner, he's nervous about asking a question. He is Anishinaabe, and he had a dream with Sabe in it, and he was wondering what that meant. And in the dream, he was trying to get into the house, and then when he looked to see who it was, Sabe took off running. So at first, what he was saying is when he looked out the window, it was a bear. But then when he looked at what he was scratching, he saw Sabe's hand, and then he went off running because I think RJ, my partner, scared him. So he's been wondering this for a few months now, like what that means.
Yeah, Sabe, actually, for that kind of a dream, it's usually you usually need to see somebody to interpret it, but it could be a number of things. It could be either his spirit helper, could be his clan, could be who he is, like who he's walking with. So he needs to maybe he was given a gift from Sabe, or maybe Sabe's allowing him to know that he's with him. So that one there, I would take to somebody and ask about because I can only answer so many things this way, and it's best if you have the direct honor the direct answer from the spirit world. Okay, no spirit helpers. So that's what I would do. Oh,
Thank you, Miigwech.
And then I see Wendy would like to ask a question.
Yes, Ani Bujo. I was just wondering if you could speak a little bit on the Turtle Clan.
On the Turtle Clan?
Yes.
Okay, the Turtle Clan. The Turtle Clan, the Turtle Clan are extra. They're the head clan of all the Fish Clan, and they're the ones that are usually the ones that go forward because you see, the Turtle Clan has got that shell, and that shell is the protection of the Turtle Clan. So on the back of that turtle is actually a calendar. So the Turtle Clan takes they have a memory of good with history as well, and they can I'm sorry, my internet isn't exactly the greatest right at this point. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can
But
still hear you.
anyway, the turtle. Okay, the Turtle Clan is the Turtle Clan is a very unique clan. They are of the water, the land, the air, and also of spirit. Like I said before, the turtle is slow on the land, a little bit faster in the water, and the turtle flies as the spirit, right? It's always the first one there when a ceremony is called. And the Turtle Clan, you can acknowledge that Turtle Clan in a lot of different ways. The turtle, like if you were to take a life of a turtle for whatever reason, the turtle, not just anybody can kill that turtle. Only a Turtle Clan person can. A man or a woman in Turtle Clan. You would take that turtle, and that turtle won't fight with you. And you got to give it tobacco though, and ask him to take that life. And that Turtle Clan, sometimes what people do when they make rattles is that they just take like a little, like not a little string, but a string, and tie a noose and put it around the turtle's jawline and let the turtle hang. That won't kill the turtle. The turtle is it would take a little while for that turtle to pass, and can be very emotional for Turtle Clan people to take the life of a turtle because that's the life of their, like your family member, eh? And you cut the tip of its tail, and it would bleed. It would bleed to death. And once it bleeds to death, then it's up to you to take the flesh out, and you would make a soup with that flesh. So, like I said, some clans are meant to be a little bit backwards, and the Turtle Clan is one of those things. Um, they're not all backwards. It's just some of the things that you can do with them are backwards.
Mhm.
But you'd have to make a turtle rattle out of that shell. Like I said, you don't just take the life and expect expect not to do anything with it.
Mhm.
Anyway, I hope that I've answered that question for you.
Yeah, yes, you did. It's funny that, well, not funny that you said it, but as a child, I accidentally killed my brother's turtle, and we are turtles. And I was only like 4, I dropped it, and it cracked its shell, and I knew it was wrong, but I put it back in the container thing, and I got in trouble later on because everybody knew it was me.
Aw.
I felt so bad. I was traumatized for weeks because I killed that poor little turtle. He had been watching it for school. It
Oh
was
no.
bring the kids, you bring the animals home or whatever, and you watch them on the weekends. And
Mhm.
he just happened to turtle.
Oh, that's sad.
Miigwech. I know,
Mhm.
miigwech.
Oh, good.
Um, so maybe we'll kind of tie things up here. So yeah, thank you so much, Sharon, for joining us today. I'm seeing so many comments in our little chat group I'll make sure that I send those to you later. Just people, expressing their thanks. And then, of course, for Anish, we're really happy that people are so interested in our events. So again, a reminder for our feedback form, if you can take a minute or two after today's session, recommend some teachings you'd like to see in the future, maybe give some tips and advice about how we can improve on our, virtual format. We definitely appreciate it. And I know somebody had asked about connecting with Sharon earlier. And like I said, you can email me at admin@anish.ca. It was also in your email with the Zoom link. And I can, connect you to Sharon later. She's also a health support worker, so she can assist in that way as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Sharon. Masicho, Miigwech. We have quite a few events coming up. I'll just share some of those with you. Sharon will be back, I'm sure, for another event, but she's been doing a lot, so we like to give her a bit of a break. So our next virtual event is on Thursday. We have Jeff Wastesikut. He's a Cree gentleman. He's coming to share about Cree storytelling and the rites of passage. So that's Thursday at 1 o'clock. The event is already posted on our Facebook page. You can go and register. That one's open. We are also going to be hosting a short little lunch hour teaching. The feather teaching will be on Friday, this coming Friday. That will be by Kathy Pompana, one of our Dakota Knowledge Keepers. So I will be posting that. It's near the end of the day, so probably tomorrow. That will go up on our Facebook page. And then next week we have Gail Pruden. She's a Two-Spirit jingle dress dancer. She'll be sharing about the life of a Two-Spirit. We have Martha Pete. She's an Inuk elder. She's going to be sharing about Inuit history and storytelling. And then we also have another session with Kathy on understanding trauma. And it looks like we also have virtual teaching with Wally Chartrand on the Circle of Life next Friday. And we are also starting, sorry, these are a lot of events. We're also starting up a drum singing monthly evening with Kathy's husband. His name is Ernie. So he holds a drum. I think he does a hand drum and a sit down drum. So he's going to be joining us to teach you guys how to sing some drum songs. So I'll be posting these events. I haven't posted any of next week's events yet, so those will go onto our Facebook page in the next few days. But we hope that you guys continue to follow us and join our sessions when you can. We are trying to schedule more events in the evening so that more people can join, if you have work during the day. And then also, just before everybody leaves, I'm not sure if you've seen on Facebook, but our boss, Eva Wilson Fontaine, she runs the Inish Corporation. She is starting an initiative at the Thunderbird House. They are in the process of putting up she calls it a prospector tent. I think it's like a trapper tent, a canvas thing, and then some teepees. But they're planning to keep a fire going for people who, don't have a place to stay. It's a place that they can go to keep warm. They're also, Eva's accepting donations of scarves, mittens, anything and everything that you think could be used, as well as food. If you have soup and bannock, you can connect with me as well, and I'll make sure that you connect with Eva, who is taking those donations. Or if you wanted to stop by, you're more than welcome to join them while they sit by the fire. And it's a way of taking care of our relatives and helping keep everybody safe and warm, especially with the weather that's been happening. So if you'd like to get more information about that, you can email me. Otherwise, I think that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you very much to Sharon for joining us again today. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Get Jimmy
Thank you
Bush.
so much.
Okay, go, Robin.
Stay warm, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay warm.